Today, we're going to talk about something really powerful, a kind of map for the mind. It's a guide for how to get from a place where everything feels like total chaos to a place of real inner strength. We're going to look at what happens when your world feels like it's falling apart and how you can actually start to rebuild it from the inside out.
So let's just start with the central question, right? When everything feels random and meaningless, how in the world do we find any sense of order? This whole explainer is going to walk us through one possible and pretty profound answer to that.
So, our journey begins, but not in a physical place. It starts in a state of mind, you know? That feeling of isolation. It's that moment when you pull away from everything to just wrestle with a really big question. And that's it. That's the beginning of a deep internal search.
Yeah, this isolated forest, it's a metaphor, right? It's for that feeling of being totally lost in your own head, completely disconnected from the world you know. It's just you and this heavy, heavy question. And you're searching for an answer that feels like it's just somewhere out of reach.
Okay, so you're in that place of questioning, and then the feeling gets more intense. It's not just about being lost in thought anymore. Now it feels like you're watching the very structures you used to count on just start to crumble, both inside you and all around you.
It usually starts with this subtle feeling of decay, like a sense that the foundations of your world just aren't solid anymore. Something feels off, rotten.
And that feeling of rot, it starts to spread. It leads to this profound sense of loss, like something incredibly precious has been just wasted or has completely vanished.
You know, this metaphor of the sinking ship of sanity is just so powerful. It perfectly captures that feeling of sheer panic when you feel like you're losing your grip. Your moral compass, your ethics, your stability, it all feels like it's just rotting away and going under. It's a total breakdown of the old order.
So, what's even left after a collapse like that? Well, not the things themselves, just the memory of them. These shadows of the deceased, they aren't actual ghosts. They're the imprints left on your mind of beliefs, people, structures that are now gone. You're just left holding on to an internal image of what used to be.
But it's right here, in all that wreckage, that a turning point happens. When all the old ways of seeing the world have failed you, the search for a new one has to begin. And this is a huge shift, from just despair to real possibility.
And this is where the idea of a perfect frame comes in. And no, we're not talking about a picture frame. This is a new framework for your mind, a completely new principle, a new lens that lets you start to make sense of the world again.
Now this is the most important part. The key quality of this new frame is that it's capable of relation. Its real power is its ability to connect ideas, to find patterns where before you only saw chaos. It's the thing that starts to piece your world back together again.
Okay, so if we have a new frame, what's it made of? What's its language? Well, the text here points to something really fundamental, something universal, and almost spiritual in its purity.
Now hang on, this isn't about doing your taxes or high school algebra. Mystic mathematics really refers to the deep underlying order of the universe, those logical, beautiful patterns that just exist, totally separate from our own personal chaos. It's about finding truth in its purest form. And it makes sense, right? When our own reality is messy, we look for comfort in things that are bigger, in logic that doesn't bend to our emotions. I mean, think about a constant like pi. It's universal, it never changes, it's infinitely complex. And yet, it describes a perfect, simple relationship. It just is. And that's the kind of reliable, abstract truth this new frame is built on, something totally outside our personal feelings of decay. And this leads to a pretty mind-blowing realization. Maybe true existence, the bedrock of reality, maybe it's not understood through shifting morals or decaying structures, but through these pure, timeless principles. We find stability in the abstract order of the cosmos.
But the journey doesn't stop with us just, looking up at the stars. The final and honestly the most powerful step is realizing this structure isn't just out there. It's also in here. The focus turns completely inward.
Oh, I love this phrase. It's so beautiful because it means we are active participants. This order isn't something we just find. It's a web we weave within ourselves. We actually become the creators of our own internal cosmos, our own system of meaning.
Which brings us to the final, critical question. Okay, so if this complex web of understanding is inside of us, where's its source? What's its anchor point?
And here it is, the stunning conclusion. The source of all this order, it isn't some abstract thought floating around in our brain. It's embodied. The metaphor of our spine as a living, glowing beam suggests that this structure, this strength, it's our core.
It's the central pillar of our very being, alive, energetic, and literally holding us upright against the chaos.
So this entire journey, from a dark, isolated forest of the mind all the way to a radiant inner strength, it really serves as a map, and it leaves all of us with a question to carry forward. In the face of your own chaos, what is the core, unshakable structure, that living, glowing beam that you are building inside yourself?